He will kill his father. He will marry his mother. To thwart this oracle of Apollo, Jocasta, queen of Thebes, leaves her son on the mountainside with his feet pierced and bound. A shepherd of Corinth finds the nursling and carries it to Polybius. Polybius and Merope, king and queen of Corinth, were bemoaning a sterile marriage. The child, Oedipus, or pierced feet, respected by bears and wolves, is to them a heaven-sent gift. They adopt him. When a young man, Oedipus questions the oracle of Delphi. The god speaks. You will murder your father and marry your mother. He must therefore fly from Polybius and Merope. The fear of parricide and incest drives him on toward his fate. One evening, arriving at the crossroads of Delphi and Daulis, he meets an escort. A horse jostles him, a quarrel starts, a servant threatens him. He replies with a blow from his stick. The blow misses the servant and kills the master. This dead man is Laius, the old king of Thebes, parricide. The escort takes to its heels. Oedipus, unsuspecting, passes on. Besides, he is young, enthusiastic. The accident is soon forgotten. During one of his halts, he learns of the scourge of the Sphinx. The Sphinx, the winged virgin, the singing bitch, is killing off the young men of Thebes. This monster asks a riddle and kills those who do not guess it. Queen Jocasta, widow of Laius, offers her hand and her crown to the conqueror of the Sphinx. Like the young Siegfried to come, Oedipus hurries on. He is consumed with curiosity and ambition. The meeting takes place. What was the nature of this meeting? Mystery. Be that as it may, Oedipus enters Thebes a conqueror. He marries the queen. Incest. For the gods really to enjoy themselves, their victim must fall from a great height. Years come and go in prosperity. 2 daughters and 2 sons complicate the monstrous union. The people love their king, but the plague suddenly descends upon them. The gods accuse an anonymous criminal of infecting the country and demand that he shall be driven out. Going from one discovery to another, as if intoxicated by misfortune, Oedipus in the end finds himself cornered. The trap shuts. All becomes clear. With her red scarf, Jocasta hangs herself. With the golden brooch of the hanging woman, Oedipus puts out his eyes. Spectator, this machine before you is wound up to the full. Slowly the spring will unwind the whole length of a human life. It is one of the most perfect constructed by the infernal gods for the mathematical destruction of a mortal.
They're having a good time.
Trying to.
Well, anyway, they dance all night.
They can't sleep, so they don't.
Never mind, they're getting tight and going with women and spending their nights in all sorts of dives. Well, I'm here tramping up and down with you. Well, I, for one, can't stick it any longer. I can't stick it. I can't. That's clear enough, isn't it? I've had my belly full.
Dessert, then?
No, I've made up my mind. I'm going to put my name down for the Sphinx.
What for?
What for? Why, to do something, of course. To put an end to all this creepy business and ghastly hanging about.
You wouldn't be scared, though.
I was scared. How do you mean?
Oh, just scared, you know. Yeah, unless you're the gent who's going to kill the Sphinx and draw the big prize.
And why not? Oh, I know. The only man who came back alive from the Sphinx had become a gibbering idiot. But supposing what he gibbers is true? What if it is a riddle? What if I guess the answer?
Now,
what
listen here, you poor bastard. Don't you realise that hundreds upon hundreds of chaps who've been to the stadium and college and everything have left their carcasses behind there? And you, a poor little private soldier like you, wants to go...
I shall, because I can't bear it any longer. Counting the stones of this wall, hearing that bang and seeing your rotten mug, I'm just...
That's the stuff, my dear. I was waiting for this explosion. I like it better that way. No. There's enough blood. Take it easy there.
Oh, to hell with you. Hey!
What's that?
Didn't you hear anything?
No, where?
I thought for a moment...
You're like a sheep. What's the matter? You got to pass out?
It's silly. I seemed to hear a knock. I thought it was him.
What, the Sphinx?
No, him. The ghost. The phantom, you know.
The ghost? What, our dear old ghost of liars? And is that what turns your stomach over? Really? To start with, there's a good chance our ghost will not appear again after last night's business. So that's that. Besides, we can hardly say this ghost scared us. Well, first time perhaps. But after that, eh? Why, he was a decent old ghost. Almost a pal. A relief. Look, if the idea of this ghost makes you jumpy, it's because you're in a real state of nerves, like me, like everybody in Thebes. It's worse than a war, this Sphinx business. We don't know a blind thing about the enemy we're up against. We're beginning to get fed up with oracles, happy deaths, and heroic mothers. Do you think I should pull your leg as I do if all our nerves weren't on edge? Or that you'd start blubbering? Or that lot over there would get tight and dance? No, they'd be in bed and fast asleep. And we'd be playing dice while waiting for friend Phantom.
I say, what do you think it's like? The Sphinx?
Oh, give the Sphinx a rest. If I knew what it was like, I shouldn't be here doing guard duty with you tonight.
Some make out it's no bigger than a hare, that it's timid and has a tiny little face, like a woman's. But I think it has a woman's head and breasts and sleeps with the young men.
Oh, turn it up. Shut up and forget it.
Perhaps it doesn't ask anything and doesn't even touch you. You meet it, look at it, and die of love.
All we needed was for you to go and fall in love with the public scourge. Between ourselves, do you know what I think about this public scourge? It's a vampire. Yes, a common or garden vampire.
A vampire with a woman's head?
Can't you turn it up? No. A real old vampire with a beard, a moustache and a belly. He sucks your blood. And that's how it is they bring the corpses back home, all with the same wound in the same place. Back of the neck. Well, now go and see for yourself if you're still keen.
What, you're saying that...
I'm saying that... Oh, it's the captain.
At ease. Well, my lads, is this where we see ghosts?
Well, sir...
Silence! You will speak when I ask you. Which of you two has dared...
I did, sir.
Good Lord, whose turn to speak is it? Are you going to keep quiet? I was asking, which of you two has dared to make a report about a service matter without it passing through the normal channels, right over my head? Answer.
It wasn't his fault, sir. He knew...
Was it you or him?
It was both of us.
Silence! I want to know how the High Priest came to hear of what happens at night at this post, while I myself heard nothing.
Oh, it's my fault, sir. My fault. My comrade here didn't want to say anything about it, but I thought I ought to speak, and as this incident didn't concern the service, and, well, I told his uncle everything. Because his uncle's wife is sister to one of the Queen's linen maids, and his brother-in-law is in Tiresias' temple.
And that's why I said it was my fault, sir.
So, this incident doesn't concern the service. Very good. Oh, very good. And it seems this famous incident, which doesn't concern the service, is a ghost story.
Yes, sir.
A ghost appeared to you one night when you were on guard duty. And this ghost said to you... Well, just what did this ghost say to you?
He told us, sir, he was the spectre of King Laius, and he tried to appear several times since his murder. And he begged us to find some way of warning Queen Jocasta and Tiresias with all speed.
With all speed. Fancy that. What a nice old ghost he must be. And, didn't you ask him, say, why you had the honour of this visit, and why he doesn't appear directly before the Queen or Tiresias?
Yes, sir, I asked him, I did. His answer was that he wasn't free to put in an appearance anywhere, and that the ramparts were the most favourable spot for people who had died violent deaths, because of the drains.
The drains?
Yes, sir. Well, he said drains, meaning because of the fumes which rise there.
Oh, a very learned spectre. What did he look like? What was his face like? What clothes did he wear? Where did he stand, and what language did he speak? Are his visits long or short? Have you seen him on different occasions? Although this business doesn't concern the service, I must say I am curious to learn from your lips a few details about the manners and customs of ghosts.
Well, he did scare us a bit the first night. You see, sir, he appeared very suddenly, like a lamp lighting up. Over there, in the thickness of the wall.
We both saw him.
It was hard to make out the face and the body. The mouth, when it was open, was clearer, and a white tuft of his beard, and a large red stain, bright red, near the right ear. He spoke with difficulty and couldn't somehow manage to get out more than one sentence at a time. But you'd better ask my comrade here about that, sir. He explained to me how it was the poor fellow couldn't manage to get it over.
Did he?
Oh, you know, sir, there's nothing very complicated about it. He spent all his energy in the effort to appear. Well, that is, in leaving his new shape and taking on the old, so that we could see him. Well, that's the reason why each time he spoke a little better, he began to disappear. He became transparent-like, and you could see the wall through him.
And as soon as he spoke badly, you could see him very well. But you saw him badly as soon as he spoke well. And he began saying the same thing over again. Queen Jocasta, you must warn the Queen. You must warn Queen Jocasta. I ask you, gentlemen, to warn, gentlemen, gentlemen. That's how he went on.
And you could see he was afraid of disappearing before he'd said his piece right to the end.
Oh, yes, and then, you know, remember, every time the same business. The red stain went last. Just like a ship's light on the wall, it was, sir.
But the whole thing was over in a minute.
He's appeared in the same place 5 times. Every night. A little before dawn.
But last night it was different, and well, my comrade here decided to tell the Royal House everything.
And how was last night different?
Well, it was like this, sir. We were waiting for the ghost to turn up, like.
And we laid odds.
Will come, won't. And it may seem a funny thing to say, but it was a comfort to see him.
It's a habit, as you might say.
We were starting to imagine we saw him when he wasn't there. We'd say to each other, it's moving, the wall's lining up, don't you see it? Look. You know, I thought he'd never show up. But he appeared. Stealthily, not at all quickly like on the first nights. And once he was visible, he said new things, and told us as well as he could that something fearful had happened, a thing of death which he couldn't explain to the living. He spoke of places where he could go, and places where he couldn't go, and that he'd been where he shouldn't, and knew a secret which he shouldn't know, and that he would be discovered and punished, and afterwards he wouldn't be allowed to appear. He wouldn't be able to appear any more. I shall die my last death, he said, and it will be finished. Finished. You see, gentlemen, there is not a moment to lose. Run, warn the Queen, find Tiresias. Gentlemen, have pity. He was begging away, and then day was breaking, but he just stayed there.
Stuck like. We thought he'd go mad.
He seemed to be saying that he'd left his post, as it were, that he didn't know how to disappear, that he was lost. And we saw him going through the same performance to disappear as to appear, and he couldn't manage it. So then he asked us to swear at him, because he said swearing at ghosts is the way to make 'em go. And the silliest thing about it was that we hadn't got the heart to do it. The more he repeated, come on, young men, insult me, let yourselves go, do your best.
The less we were able to.
You were such a decent sort, the ghost of poor old King Lias. The swear words wouldn't come. But there he was, urging us on. So, well, we gave him a few, you know. Go on then, buzz off, you old bastard.
You see, sir, you old bastard is a kind of friendly way of speaking among soldiers.
It's as well to know.
Go on, you old bastard. You're bleeding, you old... Oh, poor ghost, he hung there between life and death, beside himself with fear because of the cocks and the sun. Then all of a sudden, we saw the wall become the wall again, and the red stain go out. Oh, we were dog-tired.
And after that, I decided to speak to his uncle.
Your ghost doesn't seem to be very punctual tonight.
Oh, you know, sir, he may not show himself again.
I am in his way, no doubt.
No, sir, I mean, after
He will
last
appear, I'm quite sure. After all, the politeness of kings is punctuality.
Possibly, sir. But it's also possible that with ghosts there are no more kings, and they may mistake a century for a minute. So if the ghost appears in 1,000 years instead of this...
I tell you, this ghost will appear. I tell you, my presence is upsetting him. And I tell you that no one outside the service must come along this patrol path.
Yes, sir.
So, ghost or no ghost, you are to stop anyone turning up here without the password. Those are orders. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And don't forget to patrol. Dismiss. I've got my eye on you.
As you were.
He thought we were trying to pull his leg.
Don't you believe it? He thought someone was trying to pull ours.
Ours?
Yes, chum. I get to know lots of things I do through my uncle. The Queen is nice, you know, but she isn't really liked. They think she's...
Yeah.
Yeah. They say she's eccentric and has a foreign accent and is under the influence of Tiresias. But yeah, this Tiresias advises the Queen to do everything that'll harm her. Do this, do that. She tells him her dreams, asks him if she ought to get up right foot or left foot first. He leads her by the nose, licks her brother Creon's boots, and plots with him against his sister. Yeah, a low lot there. I wouldn't mind betting the captain thought our ghost was out of the same bag as the Sphinx. A priest's trick to attract Jocasta and make her believe anything they want.
No.
Shakes you, doesn't it? Well, that's how it is. Listen, I believe in the ghosts myself. Take it from me. But they don't. And I advise you to keep your mouth shut.
Still, if our king wants us to
Now,
say
you
something...
just remember this. A dead king isn't a living king, right? Time we made a patrol.
Still another flight. Oh, I hate steps. Why all these steps? We can see nothing. Where are we?
But, Majesty, you know what I think of this escapade, and I didn't.
Stop it, Zizi. You only open your mouth to say silly things. This is not the time for moral lessons.
You should have taken another guide. I am nearly blind.
What is the use of being a soothsayer, I wonder? Why, you don't even know where the steps are. I shall break my leg. That'll be your fault, Zizzy. Your fault as usual.
My fleshly eyes have gone out to the advantage of an inner eye, which has other uses than counting steps.
Ah, now he's cross all the time. We love you, Zizzy. But these flights of steps upset me so. Well, we had to come, Zizzy. We simply had to.
Oh,
Don't be
Majesty.
obstinate. I had no idea there were all these wretched steps. I'm going to go up backwards. If I looked up at the steps, I should fall. You're steady, Minna. Don't be afraid. I'm leading you. Take my hands. Up, up, there. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh!
What is it?
It's your foot, Zizi. You're walking on my scarf.
Oh, forgive me.
She's cross. But it isn't you that I'm annoyed with, it's the scarf. I'm surrounded by objects which hate me. All day long this scarf is strangling me. It catches on the branches, it gets wound up onto the hub of a carriage. You tread on it. It's a positive fact. I'm afraid of it, but I don't be separated from it. It'll be the death of me.
Look what a state your nerves are in.
And what is the use of your third eye, I should like to know? Have you found the Sphinx? Have you found the murderer of Elias? Have you calmed the people? Guards are stationed at my door, and I'm left with things that hate me, that want my death.
You're imagining...
I feel things better than all of you. I feel them. There was every possible effort made to discover the murderers of Elias.
Majesty, you know very well the Sphinx made further searches impossible.
Well, I, for one, don't care a jot about your fowl's entrails. I feel there that Elias is suffering and wants to be heard. I'm determined to get to the bottom of this story and to hear this young guard for myself, and I shall hear him. I am your queen, Tiresias, don't you forget it.
Oh, my dear child, you must try and understand the poor blind man who adores you, watches over you, and wishes you were sleeping in your room instead of running after a shadow on the rampart.
I don't sleep.
But you don't sleep?
No, Zizi, I don't sleep. The Sphinx and the murder of Elias have put my nerves all on edge. You were right there. And I'm glad, in a way. Because if I fall asleep for so much as a minute, I have a dream. Always the same, and I'm ill for the whole day.
Well, isn't it my business to interpret dreams?
The place of the dream is rather like this platform, so I'll tell you. I'm standing in the night, cradling a kind of nursling. Suddenly this nursling becomes a sticky paste which runs through my fingers. I shriek and try to throw this paste away, but oh, Zizzy, if only you knew it's foul, this thing, this paste stays hanging onto me, and then I think I'm free of it, and the paste flies back and strikes me across the face, and this paste is living. It has a kind of mouth which fixes itself on mine. It creeps everywhere. It feels after my belly and my thighs. It's horrible.
Calm yourself.
I don't want to sleep anymore, Zizzy. I don't want to sleep anymore. Oh, listen to that music. Where is it? Well, they don't sleep either. It's lucky for them. They have that music. They're afraid, Zizzy, and rightly. They must dream horrible things, too, and they don't want to sleep. And while I think of it, why this music? Why is it allowed? Do I have music to keep me from sleeping? I didn't know these places stayed open all night. But this is a scandal, Zizzy. Creon must send out orders. This music must be forbidden. This scandal must stop at once.
Majesty, I implore you. You're beside yourself for lack of sleep. We have authorized these bands so that the people don't become demoralized. Keep up their courage. There would be crimes, and worse than that, if there was no dancing in the crowded parts of the town.
Do I dance?
Well, that is different. You are in mourning for Laius.
So are they all, Zizzy, all of them, every one. And yet they can dance and I can't. It's too unfair. I shall...
Someone coming.
Oh, Zizzy, I'm shaking. I've come out with all my jewels.
Now, there's nothing to fear. You won't meet prowlers on the patrol path. It must be the guards.
Perhaps the soldier I'm looking for.
Now, don't move. We'll find out.
Hey, steady. Looks like somebody.
Where have they sprung from? Who goes there?
Say, this is going to be awkward. Listen, my good men.
Password?
Oh, you see, madam, we ought to have the password. You are getting us into an awful mess.
Password? Why? What password? Oh, how silly, Zizzy. I shall go and speak to him myself.
Madam, I implore you, they have instructions. These guards might not recognize you, nor believe me. It's very dangerous.
How romantic you are. You see dramas everywhere.
They're whispering together. Perhaps they're going to spring on us.
Now, you have nothing to fear. I am old and nearly blind. Now, let me explain my presence on these ramparts and the presence of the person who accompanies me.
No speeches. The password.
Now, listen, my good men. Have you seen any gold coins?
Attempted bribery?
No, you're wrong. I meant, have you seen the Queen's portrait on a gold coin?
Yes.
And don't you recognize?
I don't see the connection. The Queen is so young, and this lady, well, she's...
What does he say?
He says he finds Madam very young to be the Queen.
How entertaining.
Fetch your officer.
No need. I have my orders. Clear off and look sharp.
Now, you'll hear more of this.
Zizzy, what is it now? What does he say?
What's going on here?
Two people without the password, sir.
Who are you? My lord, my profoundest apologies.
Thanks, Captain. I thought this young warrior was going to run us through.
I am extremely sorry, my lord. Idiot, leave us.
Now, don't scold him. He was obeying orders.
Such a visit in such a place. What can I do for your lordship?
Her Majesty.
Majesty.
No ceremony, please. I should like to know which guard saw the ghost.
Oh, this sorry young specimen. And if your Majesty...
See, Zizzy, what luck. I was right in coming. Tell him to approach.
My lord, I don't know if the Queen fully realizes that this young soldier would explain himself better through his officer, and that if he speaks for himself, Her Majesty will be in danger
What now, Zizzy?
Well, the captain was pointing out that he is used to the men, and he might serve as a kind of interpreter.
Send the captain away. Has the boy a tongue or not? Let him come near.
Don't insist, Captain. The Queen is overwrought.
Very well. The Queen wants to speak to you. Now control your tongue. I'll pay you out for this, young fellow, my lad.
If this captain stays a moment longer, I shall kick him. Who is the other soldier? Has he seen the ghost?
Yes, Your Majesty. We were on guard duty together.
Well, then let him stay there. I shall call him if I want him. Good evening, Captain. That will be all.
We'll have this out later.
You have mortally offended that officer.
About time, too. Generally, it's the men who are mortally offended and never the officers. How old are you?
19.
Ah, exactly his age. He would be his age. Oh, he looks splendid. Come nearer. Look, Zizzy, what muscles. Oh, and the knees. I adore knees. You can tell the breed by the knees. He would look like that, too. Oh, isn't he fine, Zizzy? Feel these biceps like iron.
Well, I'm sorry, madam, but you know, I'm no authority, and I can scarcely see what I like.
Then feel, test them. Thighs like a horse. Oh, he steps away. Don't be afraid. The old man is blind. Heaven knows what he's imagining, poor lad. He's blushing. He's adorable. And 19.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Yes, Your Majesty. Isn't he adorable? Perhaps he doesn't even know he's handsome. Well, did you see the ghost?
Yes, Your Majesty.
The ghost of King Laius.
Yes, Your Majesty. The king told us he was the king.
Zizzy, what do you know with your fowls and stars? Listen to this boy. And what did the king say?
Majesty, be careful, be on your guard. Are you certain this boy has seen the ghost? And even if he had seen it, was it really the ghost of your husband?
Gods, how unbearable you are. Unbearable and a spoil-sport. You're always breaking the spell, always stopping miracles with your intelligence and incredulity. Please let me question this boy on my own. I'll find out straight away whether he has seen Laius. How did he speak?
He spoke quickly and a lot, Your Majesty. Ever such a lot. And he got mixed up and he didn't manage to say what he wanted
That's
to.
he, poor dear. But why on these ramparts? Oh, astonish.
Well, that's it, Your Majesty. The ghost said it was because of the swamps and the rising fumes that he could appear.
How interesting. You would never have learnt that from your birds, Tiresias. And what did he say?
Madam, you must at least question him with some order. You muddle this youngster's head completely.
Oh, quite right, Zizzy, quite right. Oh, what was he like? How did you see him?
In the wall, Your Majesty. A sort of transparent statue, as you might say. You could see the beard most clearly, and the black hole of the mouth as he spoke, and a red stain on the temple, bright red.
That's blood.
Fancy we didn't think of that.
It's a wound. Oh, how what did he say? Did you understand anything?
It wasn't easy, Your Majesty. My comrade noticed that he had to make a big effort to appear, and each time he made an effort to express himself clearly, he disappeared. Then he was puzzled as to how to set about
Poor
it.
dear.
And were you not able to grasp anything intelligible?
Well, yes, my lord. We understood he wanted to warn you of a danger and put you on your guard, both the Queen and you. But that's all. The last time he explained he knew some secrets he ought not to have known, and if he was discovered, he would not be able to appear again.
And didn't he say anything else? Didn't he say anything particular?
Well, Your Majesty, perhaps he didn't want to say anything particular in our presence. He was asking for you. That's why my comrade tried to let you know about it.
Dear boys, and I have come. I knew it all the time. I felt it. There. As you see, Zizzy, with all your doubts. And tell us, young soldier, where the ghost appeared. I want to touch the exact spot.
Listen to me, just God's always gone before. Why does he know?
It's there. Here, in the wall.
Or in front of the wall. It was difficult to make out.
And why doesn't he appear tonight? What, do you think he will be able to appear?
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I don't think so. After what happened last night, I'm afraid there was a spot of bother and Her Majesty may be too late.
What a shame, always too late. Zizzy, I am always the last person in the whole kingdom to be informed. Think of the time we've wasted with your fowls and oracles. We ought to have run, to have guessed. We shall learn absolutely nothing, and there'll be disasters, terrible disasters. And it'll be your fault, Zizzy, your fault as usual.
Madam, the Queen is speaking in front of these men.
Yes, I am speaking in front of these men. King Laius, the dead King Laius, is spoken in front of these men. But he has not spoken to you, Zizzy, nor to Creon. He hasn't been to the temple to show himself. He showed himself on the patrol path to these men, to this boy of 19 who is so handsome and looks like...
I implore you.
Oh, yes, I'm overwrought. Oh, you must try to understand these dangers, this spectre, this music, this pestilential smell. And there's a storm about. I can feel it in my shoulder. I'm stifling, Zizzy. I'm stifling. I think I hear my name. Didn't you hear anything?
Oh, my poor lad. You're worn out. Day is breaking. You are dreaming where you stand. It may even be that they've imagined this ghost. They stand guard half asleep in this depressing, swampy atmosphere. Now, step aside a moment. I want to speak to the Queen.
For pity's sake, listen to me. Don't let the Queen go.
Well, old son, you've clicked. It's fallen for you. Petted by the Queen, eh?
Hey, look here, I'd...
Made for life. Don't forget your pals.
Now listen, cockcrow. The ghost will not return.
Did
Let
you
us
see
go
how
home.
handsome he is?
Oh, don't recall those sad things, my lamb. If you had a
If
son...
I had a son, he would be handsome, brave. He would guess the riddle and kill the Sphinx. He would return victor.
And you would have to go without a husband.
Well, little boys always say, I want to become a man so that I can marry mother. It's not such a bad idea, you know, Tiresias. Is there a sweeter union, a union that is sweeter and more cruel and prouder than that couple, a son and a young mother? Oh, Zizi, just now, when I touched that young guard, heaven alone knows what he must have thought, the poor lad. And I myself nearly fainted. He would be 19, Tiresias, 19. The same age as this soldier. Can we be sure Laius did not appear to him because of this likeness?
My friends, do you think it any use waiting?
Frankly, no, my lord. The cocks are crowing. He will not appear now.
Come along. Well, I'll be obedient. But I'm very glad I questioned the boy. You must find out his name and where he lives. Oh, I've forgotten these steps, Zizzy. Listen, we can go back through the higher town by the side streets and we can see the nightlife.
Madam, you don't mean it.
Now he's beginning again. I've got my veils on, Zizzy. How do you expect I should be recognized?
My child, you said yourself you have come out wearing all your jewels. Your brooch alone has a pearl as large as an egg.
I'm a martyr. Others can laugh and dance and amuse themselves. Call the guard. Tell him to take me down these steps and you can follow us.
But, madam, since the presence of this young man affects you
He's
so...
young and strong. He will help me and I shan't break my neck. Obey your queen for once at least.
You!
Sir?
No, him. Yes, you. Help the queen down the steps.
You see, old man?
Yes, my lord.
He's shy. Even flights of steps hate me. Steps, hooks, and scarves. Oh, yes, they... Oh,
Has the queen hurt herself?
No, silly, your foot!
What foot?
Your foot on the edge of the scarf. Nearly strangled the queen.
Oh, my God, sir.
Oh, Zizzy, you're utterly ridiculous, poor darling. There you go. Calling him a murderer because he walks as you did on this scarf.
Madam.
Well, you are the one who is clumsy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, marvelous, Zizzy. Do you see how well I'm getting down? 11, 12, Zizzy, are you following? 2 more steps. Thank you, my boy. Send your name and address to the temple.
Here I am, madam.
Through your fault, I shall never know what my poor Laius wanted.
Well, the story's all very vague.
Very vague. What do you mean vague? It's you who are vague with your third eye. That boy knows what he's seen. And he's seen the king. He's seen the king. He's seen him
The ghost.
Gentlemen, at last I'm saved. I kept calling, begging.
You were there?
During the whole of your talk with the Queen and Tiresias, then why was I invisible?
I'll run and fetch them.
No!
You stop him.
Let me go.
No, you mustn't fetch them. That would only make him disappear.
Do these simple souls then know what the beasts cannot divine?
I shall go.
Truly, stay. It is too late. I am discovered. They are coming. They are going to take me. Help! Quick! Tell the queen a young man is approaching Thebes and not no one found. No! Mercy! Help!
Good God.
Poor devil.
These things are beyond us, old man.
But it's clear he wanted to warn his wife. My duty is to overtake the queen and repeat to her word for
You
word
want the
what...
Queen badly, don't you?
It's not that, no.
Well, you only had to appear to them and talk to them. They were there. We saw him all right ourselves. And they didn't. Poor Laius. Now he knows how easy it is to get in touch with the great of the earth. They always go before it happens, or come when it's all over.
You won't go and warn her?
A word of advice. Let princes deal with princes, ghosts with ghosts, and soldiers with soldiers.
Spectators, let us imagine we can recall the minutes we have just lived through together and relive them elsewhere. For, while the ghost of Laius was trying to warn Jocasta on the ramparts of Thebes, the Sphinx and Oedipus met on a hill overlooking the town. The bugle calls, moon, stars, and crowing cocks will be the same.
Listen.
Well,
Well, that's the last call. We're free.
it's the first. There'll be 2 more before the gates are closed.
It's the last. I'm quite sure it's the last.
You're sure because you want the gates closed. I'm sorry. Duty forces me to contradict you. We are not free. That was the first bugle call. We'll wait.
I may have been mistaken.
May have been
but-
mistaken. You were.
Anubis,
Sphinx?
I've had enough of killing. Enough of dealing out death.
We must obey. There are mysteries within mystery. Gods above gods. We have our gods, and they have theirs. That is what is called infinity.
You see, Anubis, there is no second call. It's you who are mistaken. Let us go.
You would like this night to pass without any death?
Yes, I would. Although it's growing late, I tremble to think someone may still come by.
You're getting sensitive.
That's my business.
Don't get cross.
Why must we always be acting without aim, without end, without understanding? Why, for example, should you have a dog's head, Anubis? Why have the god of the dead in the shape given to him by credulous people? Why must we have an Egyptian god in Greece, and why must he have a dog's head?
Marvelous how like a woman you look when it comes to asking questions.
That's no answer.
Well, my answer is, first, that logic forces us to appear to men in the shape in which they imagine us. Otherwise they would see only emptiness. Secondly, neither Egypt nor Greece nor death, neither the past nor the future, has any meaning for us. Thirdly, you know only too well to what use I must put this jaw. And finally, that our masters prove their wisdom by giving me a material form which is not human, and so prevent me from losing my head, however beastly it may be, for I am your keeper, remember. I can see that if they'd given you a mere watchdog, we should already be in Thebes with me on a leash and you sitting in the middle of a band of young men.
Oh, how stupid you are.
And try and remember that these victims who touch the girl figure you have assumed are no more than noughts, wiped off a slate. Even if each of these noughts were an open mouth calling for help.
Oh, that may be. But here the calculations of gods are hard to follow. Here we kill. Here the dead really die. Here I do kill.
Look where you're going.
All right,
Get
Mum.
along now. Don't look behind you. Leave your sister alone. Oh, shh. Go on.
Oh,
look
sorry.
out. I told you to look where you're going. Oh, I'm so sorry, miss. He never looks where he's going. He hasn't hurt you, has he?
No, not at all.
I didn't expect to meet anyone on my path at such an hour.
I'm new to these parts. I haven't been long in Thebes. I was on my way to a relative who lives in the country and got lost.
Poor dear. Where'd your relative live?
Near the 12th milestone.
The very part I come from. I had lunch with my family at my brother's place, you know. He made me stay to dinner, and then, well, you know, you begin gossiping and don't notice the time. And so here I am going home after curfew with my brats half asleep already.
Good night, then.
Good night. And, I say, don't linger on the way. Well, I know the likes of you and me haven't much to fear, but I wouldn't be too bold if I were you till I was inside the walls.
Why? Are you afraid of thieves?
Thieves? Oh, Ye gods, what could they get out of me? Oh, no, my dear. Where do you come from? Anyone can see you're not from the town. Thieves? Oh, you're joking. I mean the Sphinx.
Do you really honestly and truly believe in that nonsense yourself?
That nonsense? How young you are. Young people are so disbelieving these days. Oh, yes, they are. That's how disasters happen. Let alone the Sphinx. I'll give you a case from my own family. My brother that I've just left. He married a beautiful, tall blonde from the north. One night he wakes up, what's he find? His wife in bed without head or entrails. She was a vampire. Well, when he got over the first fright, what does my brother do? Without a moment's hesitation, he finds an egg and lays it on the pillow in the place of his wife's head.
Oh.
Well, that's how you stop vampires getting back into their body. All at once he hears a moaning. It was the head and entrails flying wildly across the room and begging my brother to take away the egg. Well, my brother wouldn't. But then the head went from moans to anger, from anger to tears, from tears to kisses. Well, to cut a long story short, my idiot brother takes away the egg and lets his wife get back into her body. So now he knows his wife is a vampire, and my sons make fun of their uncle. They maintain that he made up this entire vampire story to disguise the fact that his wife really did go out, but with her body, and that he let her come back, and that he's a coward and ashamed of himself. But I know very well my sister-in-law's a vampire. My sons are in danger of marrying fiends from the underworld, all because they are obstinate and disbelieving. And the same with the Sphinx. Well, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but it's only the likes of my sons and you don't believe in it.
Your sons?
Oh, not the little brat who just bumped into you. No, I mean my boy's 17.
Oh, you have several sons, have you?
I had 4. Now I've 3. 7, 16, 17. And I can tell you, ever since that wicked beast appeared, the house has been impossible.
Are your sons quarrel?
Oh, I mean, my dear, that it's impossible to live under the same roof. The one who's 16 is only interested in politics. According to him, the Sphinx is a bugbear they use to scare the poor and to impose on them. There may have been something like your old Sphinx at one time, that's how my son speaks, but now the old Sphinx is dead, and he's merely a priest's demon, an excuse for police corruption. They fleece and loot and terrorise the masses and then blame it all on the Sphinx. It's a good thing the Sphinx has broad shoulders, he says. Whose fault is it, he says, that we starve to death, the prices go up and the bands of looters swarm over the countryside? Oh, you should see him, miss, how he gets up on the table, shouting, waving his arms, stamping his feet, and shouting at the top of his voice names that are enough to get us all hanged. Between ourselves, miss, I know. Well, you can take it from me. The Sphinx exists all right. They're making the most of it. No, you can be sure of that. What we want is a man, a dictator.
And what about the brother of your young dictator?
Oh, he's another kettle of fish. He despises his brother, he despises me, he despises the gods, he despises everything. He makes you wonder how he gets hold of all he comes out with.
And your 4th son?
No, he's just 19.
What did he die of?
Sphinx. It's all very well for his younger brother to maintain he was a victim of police intrigues. Oh, no. There's no mistake. He died through the Sphinx. Oh, my dear, if I live to 100, I'll never forget that scene. One morning, he hadn't been home that night. I thought I heard him knock. I opened the front door and saw the underneath of his poor feet. And then there followed a long way off, ever so far away, his poor little face. And in the back of his neck, look, just here, a large wound from which the blood had already stopped flowing. They brought him to me on a stretcher. I just went, oh, fell all of a heap. A blow like that, you know, you don't get over in a hurry. You may be thankful that you don't come from thieves. Thankful if you've no brothers, you're lucky. My other boy, the orator, wants to avenge him. After all, he hates the priests, and my poor son was one of a series of human offerings, but what's the good?
Human offering?
Oh, yes. During the first months of the Sphinx, the soldiers were sent to avenge the fine young men who were found dead all over them. Then, as there was a rumour that the Sphinx asked riddles, young people from the schools were sacrificed.
Oh, poor woman.
Oh, I'll tell you, my dear, what we want is a man of action. Queen Jocasta's still young. At a distance, you'd say she was 29, 30. What we want is a ruler to fall from the sky, marry her and kill the beast. Someone to make an end of corruption, lock up Creon and Tiresias, improve the state of finance and liven up the people. Someone who'd care for the people and save us. Yes, that's it, save us.
Mummy?
Shh.
Mummy, I say, Mummy, what does the Sphinx look like?
Oh, I don't know. What do you think's the latest? There's farthings for a monument to those killed by the Sphinx. Well, will that bring them back to us, I should like to know?
Mummy, what is the Sphinx like?
Poor little chap.
Now, don't worry the lady.
Oh, he's all right.
I say, Mummy, is this lady the Sphinx?
Little silly. Oh, I hope you don't mind. At that age, children don't know what they're saying. Oh, no. Come along now. Off we go, lazy bones.
Mummy, is that lady the Sphinx? I say, Mummy, is the Sphinx that lady? Is that the Sphinx, Mummy?
Oh, don't be silly. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Excuse my gossiping to you. I was glad to stop for a breather. Quickly. There's the second bugle. After the third, we'll be shut out.
Go along quickly. I'd better hurry, too. You've put me on my guard, thank you.
Believe me, we'll not feel safe until there comes a man who'll rid us of this scourge.
I say, Mummy, what does the Sphinx look like? Why wasn't it that lady? Then what's he done?
A scourge.
One would have to come along here just now.
Oh, I'm so unhappy. If only this massacre would come to an end.
Don't worry, calm down.
Listen, this is my secret wish. A young man will climb this hill. I shall fall in love with him. He'll have no fear, and when I ask my question, he'll answer it as an equal. He will give the answer. Do you hear, Anubis? And I shall fall dead.
Make no mistake, only your mortal form will fall dead.
And isn't that the form I should want to live in to make him happy?
It's nice to see that human form doesn't make a great goddess become a little woman.
You see how right I was? That bugle we heard was the last after all.
Daughter of men, one is never finished with you. I tell you, no, that was the second. When I've heard another one, you can go. Oh.
What is it?
Bad news.
Someone coming?
Yes.
I can't, and I won't question this young man. You needn't ask me to.
I should say, if you're like a young mortal, he's like a young god.
What grace, Anubis. What shoulders. Oh, he's coming.
I'll hide. Don't forget you are the Sphinx. I'm keeping my eye on you. I'll be with you at the first sign.
No, Anubis, listen quickly.
Shh. He's here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I startled you.
Well, no, I was dreaming. I was miles away, and suddenly before me,
You took me for an animal.
almost.
Almost? Almost an animal, that's the Sphinx.
Yes, I know.
You took me for the Sphinx, thank you.
Oh, I soon realized my mistake.
It can't be so amusing to find yourself suddenly face to face with the Sphinx if you're a young man.
And if you're a girl?
He doesn't attack girls.
And girls, I should think, aren't usually out after nightfall.
You do well to mind your own business, young man, and let me go my way.
Which way?
Tell a complete stranger where I'm going.
And suppose I guessed where?
You really amuse me.
Where? Aren't you moved by curiosity? It's raging amongst all the modern young women. The curiosity to know what the Sphinx looks like. If he has claws or a beak or wings. Half tiger, half vulture.
Oh, come on.
Who's seen him? No one. Fabulous rewards are promised to the first person who discovers him. The faint of heart tremble, young men die. But a girl, couldn't she venture into the forbidden area? Setting orders at defiance, and dare what no reasonable person would dare, to unearth the monster, surprise him in his lair, get a view of him?
Oh, you're on the wrong tack, I tell you. I'm going back to a relative who lives in the country.
Oh.
And as I'd forgotten the very existence of the Sphinx and that the outskirts of Thebes are not safe, I was resting a moment on the stones of these old ruins. You see how far out you are?
What a pity. For some time now, I've only run across people as dull as ditch water, so I hoped for something more unusual.
Well, good evening.
Good evening. I say, I may appear unpleasant, but I honestly can't bring myself to believe you. Your presence in these ruins still intrigues me enormously.
You're simply incredible.
Because if you were like other girls, you would have already made off as fast as your legs would carry you.
No, my dear boy, you're quite absurd.
It seemed to me so marvelous to find in a girl a worthy competitor.
A competitor? Ah, then you are looking for the Sphinx.
Looking for him? Let me tell you, I've been on the march for a whole month. Probably that's why I appeared ill-mannered just now. I was so wild with excitement as I drew near Thebes that I could have shouted my enthusiasm to the merest block of stone, when, instead of a block of stone, what stands in my path but a girl in white? So I couldn't help talking to her about what was uppermost in my mind, and thinking she must have the same purpose as myself.
But surely, a moment ago, when you saw me spring out of the shadow, you didn't seem to be very much on the alert for a man who wants to measure his strength with the enemy.
It's true. I was dreaming of fame, and the beast would have caught me unawares. Tomorrow in Thebes I shall acquit myself, and the hunt will begin.
Do you love fame?
I'm not sure. I like crowds. Trumpet calls, flying banners, waving palm branches, the sun, gold, purple, happiness, luck. You know, to live.
Is that what you call living?
Don't you?
No. I must say I have quite a different idea of life.
What's that?
To love. To be loved by the one you love.
I shall love my people when they meet.
The public square's not a home.
The public square has nothing to do with it. The people of Thebes are looking for a man. If I kill the Sphinx, I shall be that man. Queen Jocasta is a widow. I shall marry her.
A woman who might be your mother?
The main thing is that she is not.
Do you imagine that a queen and her people would give themselves up to the first comer?
Would you call the vanquisher of the Sphinx a first comer? I know the promised reward is the queen. Oh, don't laugh. Don't laugh at me. Please, listen. No, you must. I must prove that my dream isn't merely a dream. My father is king of Corinth. Now, my father and mother were already old when I was born, and I lived in a court of gloom. Too much fuss and comfort produced in me a kind of feverish longing for adventure. I began to pine and waste away. Well, one evening, a drunk shouted at me that I was a bastard usurping the place of a legitimate son. Blows and abuse followed, and the next day, despite the tears of Merope and Polybius, I decided to visit the sanctuaries and question the gods. They all replied with the same oracle. You will murder your father and marry your mother.
What?
Yes, I mean it. First, this article filled me with horror, but I'm not so easily imposed on. I soon saw how nonsensical the whole thing was. I took into account the ways of the gods and the priests, and I came to this conclusion. Either the article hid a less serious meaning, which had to be discovered, or the priests, who communicate from temple to temple by means of birds, found it perhaps to their advantage to put this article into the mouth of the gods and to weaken my chances of coming into power. Briefly, I soon forgot my fears, and I may say used this threat of parricide and incest as an excuse to flee the court and satisfy my thirst for the unknown.
Oh, now it's my turn to feel dazed. I'm sorry I rather made fun of you. Will you forgive me, Prince?
Give me a hand. May I ask your name? Mine is Oedipus. I'm 19.
Oh, what does it matter about mine, Oedipus? You must like illustrious names. That of a little peasant of 17 wouldn't interest you.
That's unkind.
You adore fame. Yet I should have thought the surest way of foiling the oracle would be to marry a woman younger than yourself.
That doesn't sound like you. That's more like a mother of Thebes, where marriageable young men are few.
Oh, that doesn't sound like you either. That was a gross common thing to say.
Have I walked the roads over mountains and streams merely to take a wife who will quickly become a sphinx? Well, worse than that, a sphinx with breasts and claws.
Oedipus?
No, thank you. I prefer to try my luck. But, Take this belt. With that you will be able to get to me when I have killed the beast.
Have you ever killed?
Yes. Once. At the crossroads of Delphi and Daulis. I was walking along, like a moment ago. A carriage was approaching, driven by an old man with an escort of 4 servants. When I was on a level with the horses, one of them reared and knocked me into one of these servants. The fool tried to strike me. I aimed a blow at him with my stick, but he dodged down, and I caught the old man on the temple. He fell, and the horses bolted, dragging him along. I ran after them. The servants were terrified and fled. I found myself alone with the bleeding body of the old man and the horses, who screamed as they rolled about entangled and broke their legs. It was dreadful. Dreadful.
Yes. Isn't it? It is dreadful to kill.
Oh, well, it wasn't my fault, and I think no more about it. The thing is to clear all obstacles, to wear blinkers, and not to give way to self-pity. Besides, that is my star.
Well, goodbye, Oedipus. I am of the sex which is disturbing to heroes. No, let's go our ways. We can have little in common.
Disturbing to heroes. You do have a high opinion of your sex.
And supposing the Sphinx killed you?
Well, his death depends, if I'm not mistaken, on questions which I must answer. If I guess right, he won't even touch me. He'll just die.
And if you do not guess right?
Thanks to my unhappy childhood, I have pursued studies which give me a great start over the riffraff of Thebes.
I'm glad to hear it.
No, really? And I don't think this simple-minded monster is expecting to be confronted by a pupil of the best scholars of Corinth.
You have an answer for everything. A pity, Oedipus, for I have a soft spot for weak people. And I should like to have found you wanting.
Goodbye.
Oedipus? One last word. For the moment, does nothing else occupy your mind, nothing else fire your heart, nothing stir your spirit save the Sphinx?
Nothing else? For the moment.
And he or she who brought you into his presence, I mean, who would help you, I mean, who may perhaps know something to help bring about this meeting, would he or she, in your eyes, assume such prestige that you would be touched and moved?
Naturally. What does this mean?
And supposing I myself were to divulge a secret, a tremendous secret.
You're joking.
A secret which would allow you to enter into contact with the enigma of enigmas, with the human beast, with the singing bitch, as it's called, with the Sphinx.
Do you... Did I guess right? And has your curiosity led you to discover... No. How stupid of me. This is a woman's trick to make me turn back.
Goodbye.
Oh, now, forgive me.
Too late.
No, I'm kneeling. A simple fool who begs forgiveness.
You're a fatuous young man who's sorry to have lost his chance and is trying to get it back.
I am, and I am ashamed. Look, I believe you. I'll listen. But if you have played me a trick, I shall drag you by the hair. I'll drag you till the blood flows.
Come here. Shut your eyes.
What?
Don't cheat. Count up to 50.
1, 2, 3. Take care.
It's your turn to do that.
50. Ah! You!
Yes. I, the Sphinx.
I'm dreaming.
You are no dreamer, Oedipus. You know what you want and did want. Silence! Here I command. Approach. Come forward. As your legs refuse their help, jump. Hop. Crawl. It's good for a hero to make himself ridiculous. Come along. Move yourself. Don't worry, there's no one to see you. That's it. Stop. And now, I am going to give you a demonstration. I'm going to show you what would happen in this place, Oedipus, if you were any ordinary handsome youth from Thebes, and if you hadn't the privilege of pleasing me.
I know what your pleasantries are worth.
Yield. Don't try to screw up your muscles and resist. Yield to it. If you resist, you'll only make my task more delicate. And I might hurt you.
I shall resist!
You need not shut your eyes and turn away your head. For it is not by my look nor by my voice that I work. More dexterous than a blind man. Swifter than the net of a gladiator. Subtler than lightning. Stiffer than a coachman. Heavier than a cow. Wiser than a schoolboy sticking out his tongue over his sums. In fuller sail and more buoyant and secure than man of war. More incorruptible than judges. More voracious than insects. More bloodthirsty than birds. More nocturnal than the egg. More ingenious than Chinese executioners. More fitful than the heart, more fateful than the stars. More attentive than the serpent, moistening its prey with saliva. I secrete, I spin, I pay out, I wind, I unwind, I rewind. It is enough for me to desire these knots for them to be made, to think them for them to be pulled tight or slackened. My thread is so fine it escapes the eye, so fluid you might think you were suffering from a poison, so hard a quiver on my part would break your limbs, so highly strung a bow struck between us might make music in the air. Curved like the sea, the column and the rose, muscled like the octopus, contrived like the settings of our dreams, above all invisible, unseen and majestic like the flow of blood through the veins of statues. One thread coils around you.
Let me go!
And I speak, I work, I wind, I unwind. I calculate, I meditate, I weave, I winnow. I knit, I plait, I cross, I go over it again and again. I tie and untie and tie again. I pull tight, I loosen, I make mistakes and go back. I pinion, I strut, I shackle, I heap up my effects. Till you feel that from the tip of your toes to the top of your head, you are wrapped around by all the muscles of a reptile, whose slightest breath constricts yours and makes you inert, like the arm on which you fall asleep.
Let me be. Mercy.
And you will cry for mercy. And you won't have to be ashamed of that, for you won't be the first. I have heard prouder than you call for their mothers. I have seen more insolent than you burst into tears. And the more silent are even weaker than the rest. They faint before the end.
Melody! Mother!
Then I should command you to advance a little closer. And I should help you by loosening your limbs. So. And I should question you. I should ask you, for example, what animal is it that goes on 4 legs in the morning, in the afternoon on 2, and in the evening on 3? And you would cudgel your brains till in the end your mind would settle on a little medal you won as a child. Or you would repeat a number, or count the stars between these 2 broken columns. But I should make you return to the point by revealing the enigma. Man is the animal who walks on 4 legs as a child, on 2 when he's fully grown, and on 3 when he's old and needs a stick.
How idiotic!
And you would shout, how idiotic! You all say that. And since your cry only confirms your failure, I should call my assistant, Anubis. Anubis. And I should make you go down on your knees. Go on! Go on! That's right. Do as you're told. And you would bend your head, and Anubis would bound forward. He would open his wolf-like jaws. I said would bend, would bound forward, would open. Haven't I always been careful to express myself in that mood? Why that cry? No! Why that horrified expression? It was a demonstration, Oedipus. Simply a demonstration. You're free. You're free.
Free?
Pardon me, Sphinx. This man cannot leave here without undergoing the test.
But...
Question him.
But...
Silence. Question this man.
I'll question him. All right, I'll question him. What animal is it that walks on 4 legs in the morning, on 2 in the afternoon, and on 3 in the evening?
Man! Of course! He crawls along on 4 legs when he is little, and walks on 2 legs when he is big, and on 3 when he's old and needs a stick. Victory! Victory!
Oedipus! Where's he gone? Where's he gone?
Flown. He's running breathlessly to proclaim his victory.
Without so much as a look at me? Without a movement betraying feeling? Without a sign of gratitude?
Did you expect anything else?
Oh, the fool. Then he's not understood a single thing.
Not a single thing.
Anubis! Look! After him! Quickly bite him! Anubis, bite him!
I am not a dog, and you are not a woman.
I lost my head. I'm mad. My hands are trembling. I'm like fire. I wish I could catch him again in one bound. I'd split in his face, claw him with my nails, disfigure him, trample on him, castrate him, and flay him alive.
That's more like yourself.
Help me. Avenge me. Don't just stand there idle.
Do you really hate this man?
I do.
The worst that could happen to him would seem too good to you.
It would.
Look at the folds in this cloth. Crush them together. Now pierce this bundle with a pin. Remove the pin. Smooth the cloth till the creases disappear. Do you think a mortal would believe that the innumerable holes result from one single thrust of a pin?
Certainly not.
Human time is a fold of eternity. For us, time does not exist. From his birth to his death, the life of Oedipus is spread flat before my eyes.
Speak. Speak, Anubis. What do you see?
In the past, Jocasta and Laius had a child.
Yes.
When the oracle gave out that this child would be a scourge.
A scourge?
A monster, an unclean beast.
Quicker, quicker.
Jocasta bound it up and sent it into the mountains and left it there. A shepherd of Polybius found it, took it away, and as Polybius and Merope were lamenting a sterile marriage...
I can't contain myself for joy.
They adopted it. Oedipus, son of Laius, killed Laius where the 3 roads cross.
The old man.
Son of Jocasta, he will marry Jocasta.
And to think I said to him, she might be your mother. And he replied, the main thing is that she is not. Anubis is too good to be true.
He will have 2 sons who will kill each other, and 2 daughters, one of whom will hang herself. Jocasta will hang herself.
Stop! What more could I hope for? Think, Anubis. The wedding of Jocasta and Oedipus. The union of mother and son. And will he know soon?
Soon enough.
Oh, what a moment to live. I have a foretaste of its delights. Oh, to be present.
I think the moment has come to remind you who you are and what a ridiculous distance separates you from this little body which is listening to me. You who have assumed the role of Sphinx. You, the goddess of goddesses. You, the greatest of the great. You, the implacable. Vengeance. Nemesis.
I should like to feed my hatred. I want to see him run from one trap to another like a stunned rat.
Is that the cry of the awakening goddess or of the jealous woman?
Of the goddess, Anubis! Of the goddess! Our gods have cast me for the part of the Sphinx, and I shall show myself worthy of it.
At last!
Dog! Oh, you lied to me.
Lied?
Yes, liar. Look along the road. Oedipus is coming back. He's running. He's flying. He loves me. He has understood.
You know very well what he wants.
Look how he jumps from rock to rock just as my heart leaps in my breast.
Yes, he's forgotten the most important thing.
He wants to find me dead?
Not you, my little fury, the Sphinx. He thinks he's killed the Sphinx. He'll have to prove it. Thebes won't be satisfied with the fisherman's
You're
yarn.
lying. You're lying. I'll tell him everything. I'll warn him. I'll save him. I'll turn him away from Jocasta, from that miserable town.
Take care.
I shall speak.
He's coming. Let him speak first.
see what good health the immortals enjoy after their death.
What brings you back here?
The collecting of my due.
Anubis. You shall have it. Stay where you are. The loser is the woman. She asks one last favor of her master.
Excuse me for being on my guard, but you've taught me to distrust your feminine wiles.
No, Oedipus. You will bear my mortal remains to Thebes, and the future will reward you. No. I ask you merely to let me disappear behind this wall, so that I may take off this body, in which I must confess I have for some little time felt rather cramped.
Very well, but be quick. At the last bugles, you see, I speak of them and they are sounded. I must waste no time.
Thebes will not leave a hero standing at her gates.
Oh, hurry, hurry. It looks as though you're inventing excuses and dawdling on purpose.
Am I the first god of the dead whom you've had to drag off by the clothes?
You're trying to gain time, Sphinx.
No. Oh, but a serious difficulty occurs to me. If you bear into Thebes the body of a girl instead of a monster which the people expect, the crowd will stone you.
Yeah, that's true. Women are simply amazing. They think of everything.
They call me the virgin with the claws, the singing bitch. They'll want to identify my fangs. Don't be alarmed. Anubis, my faithful dog, listen. Since our faces are only shadows, would you give me your jackal's head?
Oh, splendid idea.
Do what you like, so long as the shameful play acting may come to an end and you may become yourself once more.
Shan't be long.
I shall count up to 50 as I did before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Sphinx. Sphinx. What are you waiting for?
Now I'm ugly, Anubis. A monster. Poor boy. Supposing I frighten him.
Don't worry, he won't even see you.
Is he blind, then?
Many men are born blind and only perceive it when a truth tears open their eyes.
50!
Go on.
Here I am. Farewell, Sphinx.
About time, too. No, not like that. I should look like that tragedian I saw in Corinth, playing the part of the king, carrying the body of his son. The pose was pompous and moved no one.
To free that body of all human contamination, it might be as well for Oedipus to take the title of demigod.
So young.
Hercules. Hercules threw the lion over his shoulder. Yes. Over my shoulder. Over my shoulder. Like a demigod.
Isn't he simply incredible?
I have killed the unclean beast.
Anubis, I feel very ill at ease.
I must go.
I have saved the town.
Come along, mistress, let us go.
I shall marry Queen Jocasta.
Poor mankind. I can stand no more, Anubis. I can't breathe. Let us leave the earth.
I shall be king!